and welcome back. My name is India and I happen to read a lot, and we have not sat down in a hot minute. I don't know what it was. I could not tell you, but I, for some weird reason, just couldn't find the motivation to do anything. So for about 2-3 weeks, I've done nothing but try to read because I've been in a bad reading slump in February. And I've been trying to find motivation to film things, and sometimes it just doesn't turn up, and you just got to give yourself a break and roll with it. We are going to start the month, so as this will be uploaded on March 1st, so hello to March. We are going to be talking about all the books that I plan to read in March, and I've decided to scale back just a teeny bit because February was such a dud month, but more on that in my February wrap up. But yeah, let's just jump straight in. There's no point in beating around the bush. Let's talk about the books that I want to read in March. We're kind of doing a reverse stack today. So first up on the list, I have spoken about this in my 26 books I want to read in 2026, and that is My Happy Marriage. This is a Cinderella-inspired slow burn historical romance with a paranormal twist set in Taisho-era Japan. In this series, we follow, what's her name? Mio Saimori, who lives with a family where she has no magical powers. She hasn't inherited any of the superpowers from her bloodline and is shunned because of it and is made to live as a maid. We then find out that her family then decide to shove her off as a bridal candidate for the elusive and potentially cruel Kudo house, specifically for, I believe, yes, it's their heir, Kyoka Kudo. So in this one, she's very much a Cinderella-esque kind of character, shipped off to this notorious house, having spent most of her entire life as a maid, to try and win the eye of Kyoka Kudo, who is known to be kind of heartless and cold. I've heard nothing but amazing things. Apparently the anime is really, really good. It's on my 26 for 26. There we go. Then we have my very slightly battered copy of Five Little Pigs. We have to start reading some Christie now. For those of you who don't know, I am trying to read all of Christie's work. I've been trying this since probably about 2018, 2019. 8 years in the making or so for this series, but this is the next book that I'm reading, Five Little Pigs. I cannot remember what number in this series is. It's over 20 now. This, in a podcast that I listen to, which I'd highly recommend if you're a Christie fan, it's called All About Agatha. This is their favourite Christie novel that she brought out, was Five Little Pigs. So I've got a lot of expectations going into this. This follows Carla. Carla is just about to turn 21 years old. She is engaged to this amazing man. She should be having the time of her life. She's in her early 20s. She should be living her life to the fullest. But she just needs to forget the fact that her mum poisoned her father and then died in prison when she was 5 years old. So just forget about the deep, deep, dark past of your murderous mother and the fact that you've never really seen her, and then she was out of your life from 5 anyway. Just forget about that. Except for Carla gets a mysterious letter telling her that her mother was actually innocent, and she then asks the help. Oh my God, what is that at my door? She then asks the help of Poirot to prove her mother's innocence. This is apparently one of Christie's best novels. I'm incredibly excited to read it. As I've said, I've got high hopes. Then we have actually my current read, which is The White Desert by Lopez Carrasco. This is a sci-fi, and that is all I really know. The story of a millennial couple facing life on an increasingly fragile planet, and a stirring reflection on our place in the cosmos. Perfect for fans of Martin McInnes and Samantha Harvey. I have read the first 12 pages, and those 12 pages were good. So fingers crossed that I love it. I couldn't tell you too much. I think they're all applying to get sent to a planet, and then maybe it was a bad choice. I don't really know too much. I like it. It's like 168 pages. I've only read 12. Need I say more? Then we go to, I love hardbacks this month, and I'm not normally a hardback reader, but here we go. First up is 7 Recipes for Revolution, which I also think maybe on my 26 or 26. But we have 7 Recipes for Revolution by Ryan Rose. This is Kitchen Nightmares meets Attack on Titan. It follows, oh my God, it's such an interesting concept. It follows Paprick. Paprick is a lowly butcher. One day, after a lot of making no money, he buys some weird, mysterious, magical spice from a black market, cooks up his final meal, and the spice turns him into a big kaiju-esque monster like this. And everyone's like, we got to kill this man. He can turn into a monster. This is scary as hell. And he's like, no. You want to know how I turn myself into a monster for your wars? Make me an apprentice to a chef and give me a better life. So he's part politics of working in a kitchen, part mysterious element that allows people to turn into monsters, and a burgeoning war. Kitchen Nightmares meets Attack on Titan. The sequel, I think, is already out or just about to come out. So I'm incredibly excited to read this. When I say this is the kind of shit that needs to be published more, these are the kind of books I'm asking for. I want fun, exciting, inventive stories. I want Kitchen Nightmares meets Attack on Titan. I personally would rather we have less fantasy academia / fantasy competition and trials and more man accidentally turns himself into a monster due to some mysterious spice he put on his food. How about that? Then we have Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Now, I want to say I have not read a Sanderson book for maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. I'd read all of his Mistborn books, all of them. I'm up to date with all the eras. I read all of them, and a couple of years ago, started to read, I read Elantris, DNF'd it. Then a couple of years ago, I started reading Warbreaker, and I don't know what it was, but I just stopped reading it. So I haven't read a Brandon Sanderson in ages. And I'll be honest with you, it wasn't on the top of my list to read a Brandon Sanderson book. I think there were just so many exciting books out there. I was like, I'll get to Brandon Sanderson maybe some point in the future. I don't know when. And then the book group that I'm a part of chose Tress of the Emerald Sea. So we are reading Brandon earlier than I thought we would read Brandon. But yes, Tress of the Emerald Sea is kind of Princess Bride vibes. Follows our girl Tress. Her boyfriend gets stolen by a sorceress and it's her journey to go save him. And I truly believe in reverse damsel in distress. Go save your man. Be the prince. Be the knight in shining armor. Love it. That's all I know. Apparently it's very Princess Bride-esque. I like the Princess Bride. You know, I really enjoy Brandon Sanderson's books. Let's give it a go. I understand the Cosmere enough now, so there we are. And then finally, the last book is Spoiled Milk by Avery Curran. This is a queer gothic horror, I believe. Okay, so it is an academic setting, which I'll be honest with you, not vibing with. It follows two girls called Emily and Evelyn, a very unlikely duo who work together to try and find out what happened to the top of the class, stunning beauty Emily, who falls to her death on her 18th birthday at this boarding school that they all attend. And Emily and Evelyn, like I said, unlikely duo, take upon themselves to figure out what happened to Emily. They end up connecting to Emily's spirit, and there is a horror that is burgeoning in this school. Queer gothic horror set in a boarding school with ghosts. I recently read The Spirit Bears Its Teeth, which is a queer gothic horror set at a boarding school. And I will say, this was very, very good. So I've got high hopes for this. I will say I'm not normally an academia fan. It tends to be more fantasy academia I don't really care about. I really hope this goes down the line that The Spirit Bears Its Teeth went down, which was, we don't really spend too much talking about what they're learning. It's just there to be a setting. Because I think that's half of my issue, is I don't care about what they're learning. But I love the mystery element. I love gothic horror. I love queer gothic horror as well. Very specifically, queer gothic horror, I'm a fan. So yes, I'm hoping good things. I hope this will be good and fun and scary. But that is the goal. That is all the books that I plan on reading in March. I will talk more about my February, but February was a bit of a dud month for me after how good January was. So I'm hoping these books, they're all kind of smallish in a way, like 350-esque pages or less. So I'm hoping that means that I will fly through some of them and get back into kind of the slump, out of the slump that I was kind of in February. But who knows? Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe, all of that fun stuff. And I'm sorry that I've been a bit AWOL.